Hi, scholars. If you've already watched our reading video on Munching Millie and our long O vowel sound video, then this is our last video of today. And in today's video for this lesson, we are doing our math, and we're actually doing the last section in our chapter 11 math. So we did that pretty fast, right? In chapter 11, we've been learning all about measurement, right? The first thing that we learned in measurement is how we can measure an object's length. And a length is how long it is. Remember I told you length, and long, long, right? They both start with letter L. So if I have my phone, I just grabbed it because it was right here. If I had my phone and I wanted to measure the length, I would measure how long it is this way. We also learned about height, how tall something is, right? Height, when you go to the doctors, they take your height and you stand up against a wall with a big ruler next to you. Or Miss Paulino took your height in the classroom with a yardstick at the very beginning of the year, right? And height is how tall something is. So if I wanted to measure my phone, I would measure its height and its length. We even talked about measuring using weight, how heavy something is. And if I was holding my phone and I wanted to see if this weighed more or was heavier than this napkin, I think my phone is heavier than the napkin. The napkin is lighter and my phone is heavier. And weight is how heavy you are. So we learned length, height, and weight. Very good. In this last section, we're putting it all together and we're going to see length, height, and weight. Good. Before we get started, you're going to need your Go Math workbooks, your blue Go Math workbooks. And I think we're on our last section. So have this ready to go. You're also going to need crayons. You're going to need crayons or markers or colored pencils. But if you have crayons, I think crayons is the best choice. So I think you're going to need red and blue, at least red and blue. So a red and blue crayon, red and blue marker, red and blue colored pencil. Okay, if you don't have crayons, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But crayons will help a lot when we do our workbook together. All right, here we go. Last section of chapter 11. So use your finger to trace over the height of the present. So I see the present here. Oh, it's so cute. And we're going to trace over the height of the present. So do you see where the little hand is on the screen? Go ahead and put your finger there. If mom and dad don't want you to touch the screen, don't touch the screen. Now, you can trace up and follow the height. That is the height of the present. It's how tall the present is. Good. Now use your finger to trace over the length of the present. Remember, length, long. So find the finger, put your finger on it. Now trace over the length. That's how long the present is. So this is how tall, and that's the height. And this is how long, and that's the length. Let's try with the shoe. Use your finger to trace over the length of the shoe. Remember, length and long both start with letter L. Put your finger on the length and trace over. Good. Now use your finger to trace over the height of the shoe. How tall is the shoe? And then we measure here. How tall is the shoe? Good job. What are the different types of measurement? So you know the answer. Miss Paulino said in the beginning of the video, there's 3 ways that we learn to measure. You can measure what? and let's see if you got them right. You can measure the weight of an object, how heavy something is. You can measure the height of an object, how tall it is. And you can measure the length of an object, how long it is. And those are the 3 ways we've learned to measure. We learned to measure weight, height, and length. Nice job. That was it for today's lesson. It was just an overview of everything we've learned. Pretty easy, right? I hope so. Go ahead and open up your math workbooks, and you should be on this page here with the kitten. And if you have mom or dad with you and you need help, we are on page 485. The title of this lesson is
Length, Height, and Weight. Essential question. How can you describe several ways to measure one object?
Well, we've talked about the different ways we can measure an object. We said you can measure its length, its height, and its weight. And how we describe that is by saying how long it is. We could say it's long or short. We can say with height, we could say how tall or short it is. And with weight, we can say how heavy or light it is, right? Okay, so go ahead and take a second to look at the picture. I see it looks like some sort of a book, and it's bound with some ties, and it has a kitten on the front. It says, look at the book. Trace your finger over the line that shows how to measure the height of the book. Height, how tall the book is. So, is that this one here? Or is it this one here? The height. Height. How tall something is. You should have traced your finger on this line here. That is the height.
Height.
Good. Now, trace your finger over the line that shows how to measure the length of the book. Length. Remember, length means long. So, is that this line here or is it this line here? You should have traced your finger over this line here. Good, because that is the
length.
Good. What's the last way that we can measure this book? We talked about length, talked about height. What's the last way we can measure it? We can measure its weight, right? If we go back to this slide here, you can measure how tall, how long, and the last one is how heavy it is, right? Good job. Okay, take your Post-it or your bookmark. We're going to go to the next page. Find red apple number 1. Put your finger on it.
Share and show.
Use red to trace the line that shows how to measure the length. Okay, so we're going to take a second. We're going to look at this picture here. Did you know that this is actually a roll of tape? It's a roll of tape. So we're going to get out a red crayon first. So go ahead and get out your red crayon, your red marker, or your red colored pencil, whatever you're using. And we are going to trace the line. So I see 2 lines. There's a line here, up and down, and there's a line this way, long ways. But we're tracing the line that shows how to measure the length. The length. Is the length how tall something is, or is the length how long something is? It's how long something is, right? Miss Paulino taught you a trick. Length, long. So you should have traced this line here. Don't trace this line. That's the height. And you only needed to find the length with red. Good. Now go ahead and grab your blue crayon or your blue marker or your blue colored pencil. Now this time we're going to trace the line that shows how to measure the height. Which one's the height? Is this one here the height? Or is this one here the height? The height is how tall something is. So it's this line here. This line should be blue. Good. So the height is in blue. And when I think of height, I almost hear the word high. And when you're really high, you're really tall, right? And the length is in red. Very good. All right, let's try number 2. Find yellow sun number 2. Put your finger on it. Good. Take your red crayon. Let's find the length of the glue bottle. So is this the length or is this the length? Trace over with your red crayon. Oh, the length is how long something is. So it's this bottom line here. Good. Go ahead and get your blue crayon. Trace the height. The height, up high, up tall. Which one's the height? Good. How tall is the glue stick or the glue bottle? Very nice. What's the last way that we can measure the Scotch tape or the glue stick? What's the last way? We measured length. We measured height. What was the last one? Weight. Good. And it's kind of hard to measure a picture of something, so that's why we're not measuring the weight. But in real life, you can measure the weight of a real glue bottle or a real Scotch tape. Good job. I guess it's not Scotch tape. But... Okay, go ahead and flip to the next page. Find green leaf number 3. Put your finger on it. Nice. Okay, here we go. Getting that red crayon out for number 1. I see a backpack. Do you see a backpack? Yeah, it's got different pockets, different spaces to keep your pencils, nice zippers, lots of room in there. Now use your red crayon to trace the length of the backpack. The length. That's how long it is. Good. Now use your blue to show the height. The height of the backpack. The height is how tall the backpack is, so that's this line here. Good. We're going to do the same thing for problems 4, 5, and 6. So using red, we're going to trace the length. So if you want to get ahead of yourself, you totally can go faster than Miss Paulino, but check your work. Okay? All right. I'm moving on, and if you want to go at the same pace as me, go at the same time as me, you can do that too. If you want to go ahead, you can go ahead of me. All right. We are on blue flower number 4, and I'm looking at a box of crayons. Now we want to measure with our red crayon, so everyone has the red, right? Red crayon, the length. Length is how long, right? Is it long or short? Good. Now take your blue. Everybody get their blue. On the crayon box, trace over the height. Height. Height is how tall. Nice job. Let's get that red crayon back out and find purple butterfly number 5. Here's a grape juice box. Find the length and color it red, the length. Good. Find the height and color it blue. Nice. All right, find brown acorn, last one, using red for this. I would say that's some sort of like a toolbox, or it could be a lunch pail, but it's some sort of box. Trace the length. Good. Now with your blue, trace the height. Height is how tall. Very nice. Good. If you went ahead of Miss Paulino, come back and check. Make sure you got everything right. Your lengths should be red and your heights should be blue. Yes? All right, good. Let's go ahead, take our Post-it and bookmark to the last page. Find the pink heart number 7. On this page we are
problem solving, applications.
So how can we use our problem solving skills in the real world? So how can we measure length, height, weight in real life? That's what we're doing on this page. So here's the directions. Draw to show what you know about measuring an object in more than one way. So you get to pick an object around your house, whatever the object may be, and you're going to draw a picture of it here. So I'm going to do, this candle. So I have a candle here. I have a lot of candles in my videos. I know, I love candles. I have a candle here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my candle. I'm going to use blue because I don't have silver. And I'm drawing a cylinder for my candle. And here's my little wick. There's my candle. Now, I know that I can measure the candle. I can measure how long it is. That's the length. I can measure how tall it is. That's the height. And I can even measure how heavy it is. I would say it's about the same as my phone. I wouldn't even say one is heavier than the other. They're about the same. So you draw an object, and I want you to show me your length in red. Your length is how long it is, and your height in blue. And think about the last way you would measure that. Is that very heavy or light, right? The last way is using weight. Okay, go ahead and do this one on your own. Take a picture of whatever page is your favorite one to do. Send it to me on Class Dojo, and I will see you tomorrow because we're all done with the videos. So make sure you watch the 2 reading videos, okay? When you're all done with that page, boys and girls, I forgot to mention, you can go ahead and move on and put your bookmark here for the Chapter 11 review test, and we will get to that another day. Okay, excellent job. I will see you tomorrow. Keep up the good work, scholars, and I know you're working so hard at home. I see it every day. And guess what? I notice. I didn't forget. I'm checking every day to make sure that you're doing your work, and you make my heart so happy when you do. Keep it up because you're making your brain super smart and ready for next school year. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.